Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu
How are
alaikum.
you doing?
Walaikum salam, ma'am. Good, alhamdulillah. How are you, ma'am?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good too. Okay, so let's start our today's lecture. Today is our fifth lecture of Internet of Things. And today we will discuss the second LO of our outline, where we were talking about understand the Internet of Things security considerations. After the basics or all the basic details that we were needed to understand about IoT, we were discussing about the security considerations. Today we will see the security measures that we can consider when implementing IoT technologies. Also, we will see the IoT connectivity protocols. And before moving to the topic, we need to understand the command verbs. While doing your assignment activities, we need to make sure that you understand the command verbs first. So in the first question where you are asked to evaluate the security measures, you need to understand the process of evaluation. When you are concerned about evaluate or evaluation, you need to examine all the strengths, weaknesses, arguments in or against it, or the similarities, dissimilarities, all the components that would be the part of the evaluation process must be, you can say that must be entitled with the headings, proper headings, where you will be assigning the all the strengths of the process and all the weaknesses with the proper headings, so that it becomes easier for the evaluator to understand that you have performed all the evaluation process. So after doing this process, you need to judge the evidence from different perspectives and make a valid conclusion or reasoned judgment. So once you have done doing the evaluation process, you need to judge the evidence, like whatever the things that you have collected, you need to make a valid conclusion from that, so that it becomes acceptable from the client side. Either it's the teacher or it's the client who is going to check it, as your assignment tasks are usually dedicated to you as a proper client. So after that, you will apply current research or theories to support the evaluation when applicable. So if there is any research that is already performed on that topic, you will be using that to evaluate the process. Then for the second question, you need to investigate. Investigate means to carry out a systematic or formal inquiry to discover and examine the fact. So here it must be having some facts that will be the standard to check either the results that you are going to conclude are okay to be used or not. So once you are doing any kind of research or any kind of inquiry, it needs to be having some facts and figures that will be making the conclusion process easier. I hope the command verbs are clear to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when you will be doing your assignment activities, make sure that you are using these command verbs, and all the processes that are explained to you in these command verbs should be performed. So let's evaluate the security measures to consider when implementing IoT technologies. So when you will be doing the assignment activity, you will be explaining, or you can say that evaluating all the security measures with proper details and reasoning that is needed for it. So first things first, Internet of Things is one of the innovations driving the world. We know that this is the most commonly used driving pillar of the society nowadays, with people wanting to synchronize their digital gadgets. What was a matter of convenience has become a core aspect of life. Be it at work or while at leisure, we love to devise the devices being in synchronization, as it takes away a great deal of stress and increases personalization. So definitely Internet of Things has become our life more personalized. We have synchronized accounts and devices so that we can easily communicate between the devices and between the organizations, or you can say that workplaces, at a very comfort level. At the business level, critical operations have become easy with the help of IoT. From medical treatment to the construction sector, various industries use IoT to increase collaboration and stunt expenses. So, almost in all the fields of the life, we can see the role of IoT nowadays. However, the increased collaboration and complete synchronization have attracted the attention of threat actors, as there are possible scenarios in which hacking one devices would lend them access to various interlinked devices. So this could be the disadvantage, or you can say that the drawback of the IoTs. However, we can use the security measures here to ward off such attacks, and also we can easily manage the stuff with the help of these things, but security measures that could be the part of the overall process when using IoT devices. So, why Internet of Things security? Obviously, if one observes the technology adoption trend, mankind embraces the new technology in a very rushed manner. Due to the hype or the curiosity, whatever the thing is, we don't want to appreciate the or understand the intricacies of security, like the security of the technology that we are going to use. The same is the case with IoT, with synchronizing and seamless collaboration amply projected. IoT was embraced rather hastily. So the people are avoiding the risk factor of the IoT, and simply they are using it in order to make the process smooth, and also it helps them to be you can say that related to the technological trends, and it becomes a good thing for them, and they are simply going with the flow and adopting such things without taking some time to think about the processes and also the threats of it. Let's discuss some of the security measures that you should consider. So first, we need to secure the centralized access points. Centralized access points are the points basically from which we connect multiple devices. So if the centralized access point is secure, then we can say that the overall process is secure. So the IoT means the multiple access points, which indirectly mean that anyone with the know-how can access the digital infrastructure. These multiple inlets are potential entry points for hacker if you don't secure them. Therefore, it's wise to centralize access, as it's a chore to monitor all the points. So if you want to monitor all the points, there must be a centralized point from which you can access all the other points. But obviously, it becomes a very easier point for the hackers to enter your devices. This centralized access lends you to the scope to secure ingrained security wherever it is required. Encrypt all protocols. In this age where every company is falling prey to hackers, encryption is the first line of defense you need to put up against cyber attacks. There will be innumerable protocols with IoT that dictate data management and operational control. Most businesses have already understand the importance of encryption and have implemented it in their protocol. Additionally, it doesn't require much effort to implement this across the company. So, encryption is also a good point while doing the business. The importance of the encryption and the implementation is very much higher, because it's really needed when you are working within the organization and you want to achieve the bigger outcomes. And keep default device statuses fluid. Default devices are crucial from an operational standpoint. They lend ease of access and endow certain advantages. However, this default device should be swapped within the IoT devices to throw threat actors off the track. Keeping all the eggs in one basket is dangerous, and by swapping the default status, the company would be securing all the IoT network by preventing unwanted access. So, with simply swapping the default devices, you can manage the security somehow, and it will be easier for the IoT networks to manage the overall unwanted people to access your network, because they will not be sure about the default device. Because of the swapping process, it will not always be the same device. Then the limit vendor and third party access. Companies often rope in vendors to provide services and deliverables. And however, this is an unintentional inlet for threat actors if the credentials are compromised. One oath to control the third party access, which includes the vendor. This can be done by initiating MFA from a mobile phone or desktop app. Protocol must be established as to how and who will have access, and they should demarcate the level of access that third party vendors will have. This is one of the zero trust policies you need to embrace as soon as possible. So you don't need to trust anyone. Anyone who is going to join you, you need to limit their access. Either they are required to access the devices, then they should be given the access. However, the credentials should be limited. They shouldn't be having access to the overall system. They should get the access to the things or the devices that are needed for their work only. Then enforce network control. Having a flexible network is liked by all, but such a network is porous and can let in malware. Therefore, it is wise to integrate network access software with IoT infrastructure, eliminating the potential of a network breach. One can use vulnerability scanners to scan the network for gap if network access software affordability is a constraint to the organization. Next thing is update regularly. Any static software tool is an easy target if the version is not changed for long. It only lends ample time for the threat actors to study the software for gaps. So it's wise to update regularly and ensure all the IT devices are updated. Any obsolete IoT devices potential article here, it is better to automate the software update implementation across the infrastructure as it stunts the chances of a breach. Then invest in VLAN, virtual LAN. Basically, a corporate network is a preferred target as all IoT devices are on it. It's better to do away with the corporate network entirely and get a virtual local area network. The VLAN provision allows the organization to enable individual connections to IoT and monitor the devices connected to the VLAN. This monitoring also gives the company statistics regarding IoT device usage. So it's helpful for the organization to secure the corporate networks. Then multi-factor authentication. Most passwords are either weak enough to be hacked or too complex to remember. With single factor authentication, brute force attacks can knock these flimsy passwords out in seconds. Many IoT devices are also more minimalistic than the typical smartphone, laptop, tablet, so user cannot log onto these interfaces directly. Verification is key as security depends upon the administrative actions to log on. However, MFA is better at validating the identity with specific evidence. Today, many banks, social media platforms, and health organizations require two-factor authentication in the form of SMS code, SMS code, and one-time password sent to the user phone. Multi-factor authentication is basically, you can say that it's a most commonly used approach for the security of IoT devices. Nowadays, almost all the applications and softwares are working on this, and it's really helpful for the people to manage the security. Next thing is the protocols. It's our second question. We need to investigate IoT connectivity protocols. When network entities like server, gateway, router, applications, and connected devices interact, protocols give them a shared language. A protocol is a set of rules both network entities must have in common in order to communicate. It governs what their interaction look like, what values and attributes can be transmitted, and how they are received and processed, what security method will be used, and more. So this is the whole process, how it works. And in the Internet of Things, the protocol you use determine your application's complexity and help you prioritize the qualities that impact services and performance, such as speed, clarity, power saving, and security. Also, some telecommunication protocols have been in use for decades, like IP or GSM, and engineers have adopted them to new devices in the IoT context over time. Other are more recent developments born out of highly specific IoT use cases like OCPP and Open Charge Point Protocol. It basically enables electric vehicle charging stations to interact with our central system. So it's the advanced one, and previously the IP and GSM were the things that were being used. So the first protocol is the Wi-Fi. It's a suite of wireless network protocols built primarily on IEEE 802. It creates a local area network that nearby devices can connect to. While these networks are ubiquitous in homes and business and can offer good data output, Wi-Fi isn't ideal for many IoT applications as basic structures like wall can greatly disrupt its signal strength. And since nearly all Wi-Fi networks use 2.4 GHz or 5 GHz frequency bands, they are prone to interference. It also consumes more power than protocol that were designed with IoT devices in mind. So this one is a protocol that could be used in IoT devices, but it's not the one that is the more suitable or more appropriate one. The next protocol is NFC, which is the near field communication. NFC builds on radio frequency identification to facilitate connectivity between two devices that are within 1.5 inches of each other. If one of these devices is connected to the internet, NFC also enables the other device to access online services through the connection. This niche protocol continues to play an integral role in daily life through applications like Tap to Pay. So these are the this is the protocol that could be used between two devices or two IoT devices to communicate within a proper range that is given to us like 1.5 inches, and we cannot exceed more. The next one is 5G. 5G networks are designed to achieve a peak download speed of 50 Gbps and peak upload speed of 10 Gbps. The average rate of are more like 100 Mbps for downloads and 50 for uploads. This is several times faster than 5G predecessors like the 4G or 3G, and the theoretical peak speeds are 100 times faster. Even though in developed countries, early 5G technology has been rolled out, it is still early for the use of 5G in IoT because of devices cost and energy consumption. Radio frequency identification. It's an identification technology in which an RFID tag, a small chip with an antenna, carries data which is read by a RFID reader. The tag transmits the data stored in it via radio waves. It's similar to barcode technology. But unlike a traditional barcode, it doesn't require line of sight communication between the tag and the reader and can identify itself from a distance even without a human operator. The range of RFID varies with the frequency. It can go up to hundreds of meters. So it depends upon the need. Bluetooth Low Energy. It's also known as Bluetooth Smart, and it was developed by Bluetooth Special Interest Group. It is a relatively shorter range and consumes lower energy as compared to competing protocols. This protocol stack is similar to the stack used in classic Bluetooth technology. It has two parts, the controller and the host. The physical and link layer are implemented in the controller part, and the controller is typically a system on chip with a radio. The functionalities of upper layer are included in the host. BLE is basically not compatible with classic Bluetooth. Then we have low power wide area networks. It's a protocol for long range communication in power constrained devices. This class of protocol is low bit rate communicate on technologies for such IoT scenarios. Narrowband IoT is a technology that is made for a large number of devices that are energy constraints. It is thus necessary to reduce the bitrate. This protocol can be deployed with both the cellular phone, GSM, and LTE spectrum. So it depends upon the needs, and also we can make the system work better with these protocols. Next one is IPv6 for IoT and low power. Okay, so IPv6 for IoT and low power and low processing smart devices. IPv6 is the right protocol for neighbors discovery, a handshaking mechanism for devices to uniquely identify themselves without conflict or address duplication, and to connect with first hop routing device or gateway with minimum signaling overhead. So this is the advanced technology, and also it has been used for multiple application where the communication is very easier with a single handshaking mechanism. You can connect the devices, and ultimately you can uh, connect with them and communicate with them as well, and there is a very minimum signaling overhead that is needed or the gateway. Mesh IoT network. A mesh IoT network is a local network topology where devices are connected directly in a non-hierarchical way to route data across the network. The devices in a mesh network communicate according to a predefined protocol that allows each device to participate in the data transmission on the network. So, this kind of network is basically a mesh, and you can say that there is no hierarchy of data to be transferred, and also these kind of network protocols are already predefined, and they follow the same decorum that is allowed to them at the configuration time. There are three major components in IoT mesh network. The first one is the gateway, then the repeater, and the endpoints. The gateway are the devices that connect the mesh to the internet. The repeaters are the ones that capture data in the network and reiterate it to the endpoints. So repeaters get the data from the gateways and transfer it to the endpoints. They play a vital role in a mesh network because they enable every node to receive messages regardless of how far that node is from the gateway. The next thing is the endpoint. Endpoints are the devices that receives data from the repeaters. So these were the protocols that were being described in our overall scenario, and also once you are going to do your assignment activities, you need to make sure that you can also use the protocols that are not the part of our class but also are present, because there are number of protocols and number of security measures that are available for IoT devices. So you can choose whatever you want to, and also you need to check the suggested evidence of your assignment and the assignment guidelines to better understand how to perform the assignment activities. I hope it's clear to you. If you have any question, you can ask.
It's clear.
Okay. So today's objective was to understand the security measures of consideration and IoT connectivity protocols. I hope it's achieved.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here we have two questions. Would you like to answer anyone?
I will answer about the second question. What do you think about two-factor authentication?
Okay,
So, yeah, um, as we sometimes in organizations we have policies like using the symbols or special characters, but brute force kind of attacks or dictionary kind of attacks can still figure out the the passwords, and then the system can be compromised. To better save this, secure the systems, we can have an added layer of security which is called MFA, multi-factor authentication, in which the user can use his credentials, and after using the credentials, once he's authenticated, he will receive a code over SMS or email or the application on the phone with the code or some pin, which is one time usable. And this through this the systems are secured, and an added layer of security is provided. And we can use the same thing for the internet of the things, while connecting those, accessing to the IoT resources, we can apply MFA as well.
Right. Very good. Okay, so you don't have any question, right? So let's finish the class for today. This is all for today. I'll see you in the next class. Till then, take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.